So,
Well, did you want me to do the Rust update real quick, or we never did touch on that?
I mean, we can, we can
It's
cover that.
real quick because all this is basically
There you
is,
go, Rust update.
I
Let's go.
guess, since the only reason Alex is facing any possible problems here is because he lied. If he had just told the truth, I don't think he'd be. But it doesn't sound like anything's going to come of it anyway. But what
be charged?
Could be charged because he said he didn't pull the trigger. The investigation finds that's not true. They did say that he could be charged if that's the FBI, but nothing has come of it since. So all this story is pointing out that yes, he lied, but they still haven't filed any new charges. Now, on the other hand, that's all it really says. It's really short and to the point. But I guess
this is almost like a non. This is almost like a non-story preempting something that will happen, then, isn't it?
Maybe it feels weird. Yeah.
Oh, no. So they commissioned a new forensic examination. That's why.
Okay,
they've been waiting on the results. So they had one of the FBI as well as a new forensic examination, deciding whether to refile the charges. The report by Lucian and Michael Haig was submitted to them earlier this month and then released Tuesday in a public court filing. The experts reconstructed the gun, which had been broken during earlier testing by the FBI. How did you break it? And concluded that it could only have been fired. Why did they break it? By a pull of the trigger. This fatal incident was the consequence of the hammer being manually retracted to its full rearward and cocked position, followed at some point by the pull or rearward depression of the trigger. Although ALEC Baldwin repeatedly denies pulling the trigger, given the tests, findings, and observations reported here, as well as the FBI's own, the trigger had to be pulled or depressed sufficiently to release the fully cocked or retracted hammer of the evidence revolver. One, why did the FBI break the gun?
That's the weird thing, too. I don't know. Even to take it apart to examine it, I don't see why you'd have to break it.
Again, my thoughts on that would be, I wonder if there's a friend of Alex Baldwin in law enforcement.
I was thinking that, or maybe.
But their findings were conclusive anyway. Was that it wouldn't have been fired without the gun, without the trigger being pulled.
So I guess what we're waiting on here is the re-examination. Then I guess is what.
Their re-examination has the same findings.
Okay, so they're just because the bottom of it says that they haven't filed any charges yet, and nobody has said that they're
because it was only Tuesday this morning. It was today.
Oh, okay.
So that's why. If it is determined that the gun did not malfunction,
there's it.
Mr. Baldwin will proceed. They wrote in a filing in June. So this was what the prosecutors had previously stated. So now they've had that.
However,
so
Baldwin had not been charged again.
And it remains unclear if he will be.
I think they added more to this story since I sent it to you at first.
I don't know if they will do that,
I don't think
Apparently,
so either.
The report also found that there were 4 kinds of dummy rounds on set. Some rattled when they were shaken, indicating that they were not capable of being fired. Others had a hole in the side, and others lacked a primer. The report found that the live rounds could be distinguished from those types of dummies either by rattling them or noticing the lack of a hole. So it's just negligence, basically.
And that would fall on Gutierrez. And that's what I wonder if they're going to wait and see how that trial pans out.
Yeah, see if they can get someone else. Well, I mean, I just...
It is funky, though. I was with Culture on the whole broken thing. I'm like,
Yeah, the broken thing is weird. Like, they had to reconstruct the gun because the FBI broke it? What? I mean, Nick, you like your guns? What?
Yeah, there's no way that this gun just fired on its own. That revolver that he was using on this, it doesn't happen. I mean, you could literally cock the hammer back on that thing. If you threw it on the ground, it might fire that way. But if it's in his hand or it's holstered or he's pointing it or something, the hammer just doesn't just go forward on its own. It just doesn't happen. Anybody that knows old revolver guns like that, no, that's not the case. And if that was the case, then it would be broken every single time. Every single time you pulled it back, it would go forward. So I mean, I don't know why you need the Gestapo, FBI, who sucks anyways, to tell you these things. But
well,
you know,
let's be real. He's not going to probably get charged. If he gets charged with anything, it'd probably be obstructing justice. I bet you $5 that's what they're talking about when they said, "Oh, there will be charged," because that's all he's doing is he lied to them. Which at the end of the day, because that's what I said, like he has got to have the world's worst publicists. Because if he had just kept his damn mouth shut, not said a word, not done any interviews, nothing, he'd have been fine.
Done nothing. Yeah,
I can believe all that.
Because the history of the way these things go, and I know it's really difficult for gun people to understand this, especially, is that these are not treated the same as any other gun crime or gun accident or gun incident. There is a licensed armorist on the set for that very reason. Most cases, everything is going to fall on their shoulders, and not once in the history of any of these accidents ever happening can I think of offhand of anybody ever being charged with anything. The worst case being the Crow one.
But that was the last time.
One of the last times, but yeah.
Well, it got killed. It's the last time someone died.
Or was getting killed, yes.
I don't even think anything happened to anybody on the Twilight Zone movie incident with the helicopter.
Oh, no. 3 people died.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean going to jail?
No one got charged. Right,
there was some minor charges brought upon, I believe, one of the stunt coordinator people, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like, I don't know if anybody actually did any jail time for it. I'd have to look on that. It drug out for so long. Like I believe it was like 87 or 89 by the time that was all said and done.
Yeah,
and figured out.
Well, I think this has been going for 2 years now.
Yeah,
2 years plus.
It takes way too long. I mean, these people really dragged their feet on this. They really did.
Yeah, and then Shadow Chaser, I think, is right. All the stuff from Twilight Zone ended up being civil in the end anyway. I don't think there was any criminal negligence found.
Well, that's what this has happened. The majority of this stuff has become civil charges against Baldwin as well, like being.
And I didn't mean to drag out your show, but I just thought that was kind of interesting.
No, it is interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Just as a point of like, oh yeah, sort of see how it develops.
Well, from what
I was following that story all the time. So,
and I don't know if you heard similar things, but like, it did sound like a lot of this fell on Gutierrez's shoulders, as much as a lot of people hate Alec Baldwin and want to blame him.
So it fell on. I mean, there was multiple layers of it because and
the assistant director as well. But it sounds like he may have threw the armorist under the bus.
He made a deal. He 100% made a deal. But I mean, there was a whole load of nonsense because people were shooting things on set.
Yes.
And the crew walked out because they were like, this is dangerous and guns have gone off. And so they left and they got, like a scab crew to come in. And it was just the whole shoot was a joke.
Yeah, the whole thing, honestly, in my opinion,
walking disaster.
This is what's sad is like, I know I have had to say a lot of things that it doesn't jive with how I feel. Like if people want to know how I feel, I think a lot of people should be held culpable for this. This was clear negligence. The only time that the only time I could think of anybody ever going to prison for any kind of negligence like this in a movie in recent years was the Robert Altman movie that never got off the ground because an assistant director, I think it was, and somebody else got charged because they were shooting without any permits. And that's the only reason they had gotten in any trouble. If they had the permits, I guarantee you nobody would have gotten in trouble for what had happened. And what had happened, for those who don't know, is they were shooting on a live train track and they had a bed over top of the train track for a dream sequence. And I believe a prop person or a set dresser had come in to grab the bed just before the train caught her up in the train and she got killed. And so I believe the assistant director and somebody else had gotten charged in this, but it only came down on them because they didn't have the proper permits to shoot. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if they had the permits, it would have been just chalked up as another accident, incident, negligence on the part of the person, probably kind of situation to where, it didn't fall back on everybody else. That's the crappy part is these are not like normal work situations. Like they're not like OSHA rules in a sense, like that we have at normal workplaces and stuff. Yeah. Like Gutierrez is the one who a lot of the responsibility is going to fall on her shoulders. And much like you had heard that, I'd heard some personal things about her that really make me curious as to how she's even working in this industry.
Well, because her dad, that's why.
That's the other thing is like the shit that she has supposedly said about her dad and not learned from her dad is another thing. And I think you've heard similar things that I have. And that's the thing is like, I hate saying it. I think a lot of it falls on her shoulders, and like you said, they were out doing things they weren't supposed to be doing. With these guns, and that's going to be a big part of this.
I think she liked the sort of the romanticized the fame aspect and was trying to sort of.
She very much did. She liked the idea of being part of the industry more than actually doing her job.
Yes, nepotism.
And now somebody died because of it.
Nepotism. Yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. End on a nice cheery note. But no, that was a good topic just to end on. Absolutely.